Well, hello again, everyone. It's been a while, and welcome to another edition of SAT Sports with yours truly, Marcus. You can find me on Twitter right below your screen at MarcusLee337 on Twitter. Seems like it's been forever, but I'm back. It's only been like 10 days since I've done a episode of SAT Sports. I did a long stretch race of March Madness, doing like a couple shows a week. But now that's kind of out of the picture in the rearview mirror now. Kind of get that started. So again, with college basketball wrapped up, congratulations to both teams that won. For the men's, UConn repeating back-to-back national champions for the first time in program history. I think that was their seventh national championship in college basketball. They beat Purdue 75-60. I caught some of the game, didn't watch much of it, but it was decent for what I've caught. But congratulations to UConn, and then finally, congratulations to South Carolina winning their third national championship. I think under Dawn Staley, that was her third. They beat Iowa 87-75. I know it was the most watched college basketball national championship game out of the two. Women's college hoops has kind of been on the trend lately with some of the great athletes they've had, including Caitlin Clark playing in her final game as a Hawkeye before she goes on to possibly the WNBA. Could be the number one pick to the Fever, unless if she does take the I think it was $5 million that Ice Cube offered her to come play in the Big Three. But I think we know she's going to go play for the WNBA. And I think it was today they just announced she's still in school and not even drafted yet, but Kaylee Clark's jersey, the number 22, is officially going to be retired for the University of Iowa. So I'm not biggest fan of her because, I've been supporting with Angel Reese lately, but I will give Kaylee Clark her flowers. She is a great player. She made it back she gave Iowa back-to-back Final Four appearances and national championship appearances, even though she didn't win it. But I'll give her flowers. I think she'll be an outstanding player in the WNBA if she decides to go there. I do see her as the number one pick to the Indiana Fever. So good luck with that one. And I wish you nothing but the best. But I knew that was the only talk I'm going to have. Congratulating those national champs. Now we can mainly focus on like the UFL, Major League Baseball. We got the NBA playoffs fixing to start up. This is the last week of the regular season for the NBA. We got 2 more weeks of the regular season for the NHL before we get to the Stanley Cup playoffs. We'll also talk a little Major League Soccer from here on out. We got the return of the Arena Football League coming up in 2 weeks, so I'm very excited about that. We're going to do our first week 1 prediction show in 2 weeks. Hopefully Freddie will be back by then because that'll also be the week of the NFL draft. We'll definitely be covering as well. But stepping outside of sports real quick, I could tell you another big event going on this weekend. I haven't talked to UFC lately, but UFC has their 300th pay-per-view coming up this Saturday in Vegas on April 13th. It's UFC 300 live on pay-per-view in Las Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena. We're going to just quickly predict this card. Is this what we got coming on? In the middleweight division, we got Bo Nicol taking on Cody Brundage. We got from the lightweight division, Charles Olivier taking on Arman Trsarkian. In the lightweight division, Justin Gaethje taking on Max Holloway. The co-main event for the UFC Women's Strawweight Championship, Zhang Weili taking on Jan Zayonin. And in the main event for the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship, Alex Pereira defends his title against Jamahal Hill in this one. We'll just kind of quickly make some predictions here before we move on. So in the middleweight, Bo Nicol taking on Cody Brundage. Give me Cody Brundage to win that one. In the lightweight division, we got Charles Olivier taking on Arman Trsarkian. I'm going to go with Charles Olivier in that one. Lightweight division, these are 2 good fighters here. Justin Gaethje taking on Max Holloway. This one could go back and forth, but I'm going to take Gaethje in this one. I'm going to go with Justin Gaethje. Co-main event, Zhang Weili taking on Jan Zayoin for the UFC Women's Strawweight Championship. I'm gonna probably take. I'm gonna go with a new champion here. I think Jan Zayoin will win the UFC Women's Strawweight Championship, and then in the main event, we said Alex Pereira taking on Jamahal Hill for the Light Heavyweight Championship. I think it's going to be a hell of a fight, but I'm going to go with Alex Pereira to retain that title. So I'm looking forward to UFC 300. I'm going to try and watch it. Can't make no promises yet because I know I'll be in Baton Rouge this weekend. I know LSU got their spring football game this Saturday at 1 p.m. I'll be there for that. Haven't decided yet if I do want to watch LSU softball game that day because LSU baseball, who hasn't been doing too well lately, they're going to be on the road at Tennessee. But LSU softball, who's been dominant this season, they're going to be at Tiger Park in Baton Rouge taking on Auburn. So looking forward to see what I might do here. Maybe if I'm lucky, I can get a good spot at Buffalo Wild Wings, whether if it's in Baton Rouge or on the way back in Lafayette, because I'm used to watching these UFC fights in Lake Charles at Buffalo Wild Wings, but I won't be in Lake Charles this weekend. Mostly I'm going to be in Baton Rouge, but I'll see what I can do. Would like to watch these fights because, come on, it's UFC 300. I've watched 100 and 200 in the past. I got to keep the trend going here. So we'll see what happens there. I'll go jump in Major League Baseball real quick. And I'm saying that with perspective because I know the Houston Astros have not been doing so well this season so far. I mean, you look at the standings right now in each division, the team with the best record right now is the New York Yankees. They're the number one team in the league right now, 10-3 in their division. Yeah, the Orioles 7-4, Red Sox 7-5, Rays 7-6. Blue Jays are 6-7. In the Central, the Guardians are in first place at 9-3, but it's a tight race with the Royals, who are 9-4. Then you got the Tigers at 7-4, Twins at 4-6. The White Sox might be one of the worst teams in the league right now. They're 2-10. Meanwhile, in the AL West, the Rangers kind of back and forth with the Angels right now. Rangers are in first place at 7-6. Then you got the Angels at 6-6. The Seattle Mariners are tied at 5-8 with the Oakland A's, and which are soon to be. Well, I'll talk about that in a bit. Then Houston Astros 4-10 right now in the AL West, not looking good. But speaking of the Oakland A's, we know they announced a week ago this will be their last season in Oakland with the attendances being so low and everyone's still boycotting. They will be moving to Vegas, but it won't be until 3 years. It won't be until 2027, or 2028 actually. But the next 3 seasons, they're going to be moving to Sacramento. There is a minor league ballpark, a very beautiful one in Sacramento. That's going to be their temporary home for 3 years before they officially move to Vegas in 2028. What's going on, Jordan? Tuning in, my co-host of the World Elite Podcast. Meanwhile, the standings in the National League, you got the Braves in first place in the NL East 7-4, with the Phillies at 7-6. Then you got the Mets at 5-7 with the Nationals, and then the Miami Marlins 2-11. So either the Marlins or the White Sox could be the worst team in MLB right now. In the NL Central, you got the Milwaukee Brewers in first place at 8-3, followed by the Pirates, who are 9-4. Cubs are 7-5. Reds are 6-6. The Cardinals 6-7. And then finally in the NL West, the Dodgers are in first place with a 10-5 record. So them and the Yankees are the only 2 teams to get 10-plus wins of the season. The Padres are 7-8. Diamondbacks are 6-7. Then you got the Giants at 5-8, and the Rockies are 3-10. So this weekend, I know the Astros are hosting the Texas Rangers. So the Lone Star Series continues on. Their last series meeting, it went 2-2. The Rangers took the first 2 games. Astros took the last 2. They just got swept by the Royals. Not a good start. Not a good season so far. But how this goes, I know it's a 3-game series. They're going to play Friday through Sunday in Houston. I think we know where it's going here. I would love to see the Astros at least get 1 win, but I'm going to take the Rangers winning this series at 2-1. The Astros bullpen is it's terrible. And it hurts me saying that as a diehard, but I'm just speaking truth here. I'm telling the truth with this team. They are not as good as what they've been the last few years. With my safe here, they'll be lucky if they even make the playoffs the way they've been playing. Of their upcoming series this weekend, we got the Twins at the Tigers. I'm going to go with the Tigers winning this series. Pirates at the Phillies, the in-state rivals here, but I'm going to go with the Pirates winning this series. I don't know about how many games yet. I guess going by these record-wise, but I'm just picking who's going to win these series. Giants at the Rays. Tampa Bay Rays win this series at home. The Brewers on the road against the Orioles. Give me the Brewers winning this series. Rockies at the Blue Jays. It's an easy one. I'm going to go with the Blue Jays. Angels and the Red Sox. That's going to be a tough series to pick, because it could be about an even series matchup. But you know what? I'll take the Red Sox to win this series. Braves at the Marlins. Give me the Braves winning this series. Royals at the Mets. If Freddie's listening, sorry, buddy, but I'm going to take the Royals winning this series. Yankees and the Guardians. This should probably be one of the top series of the weekend. Both the Yankees are hot right now. Guardians, not bad themselves, but I'll just go with Yankees winning this series. Reds and the White Sox. Give me Cincinnati. Cubs, Mariners. This should be a fun series to watch, but I'm going to take the Cubs winning that series. Cardinals, Diamondbacks. Both teams are 6-7, but give me the Diamondbacks winning that series. Nationals and the A's. I'm shocked that the A's are actually winning games here, but give me the Nationals winning this series. And then finally, the Padres and the Dodgers. Two rivals here. As much as I despise the Dodgers, I would like to see the Padres win this series as well. How you guys? What's up, Miss Kim? How y'all doing? So that about wrap up the Major League Baseball talk. I mentioned for the NBA, this is the last weekend or the last full week of the regular season before we go into the play-in, which I think starts in about a week. When we look at the standings, there are still teams fighting to get into that play-in spot, or where some are going to be eliminated. For the New Orleans Pelicans, they're in a good spot right now. While in the Western Conference, they're number 6. Only the top 6 don't have to play in. They're officially in the playoffs. They got 3 games left, and they're playing the Sacramento Kings late tonight. That's one game that's going to freak me out, but they are winning big right now. They're up 16-5. They can win out. They are safe. They don't have to go worry about being in a play-in, nothing like that. But you look at their 3 remaining teams, they're playing California teams. 2 on the road. They're at Sacramento tonight. They are winning, so they keep that momentum going. Then they go to Golden State tomorrow night, which Golden State hasn't been very hot lately. And then they close out the regular season at home with the Lakers, which they've been back and forth with each other. But I could see them at least winning 2 out of 3. Like, I would love if they win this. They could win out. I had them losing to the Kings, but they're winning big right now. I hope they could pull it off. I could see them possibly beating Golden State, but the fact that it's in San Francisco, it could worry me. But the Lakers at home, I'm very confident they could take off the Lakers at home. But meanwhile, the NBA standings right now, in the Eastern Conference is basically locked in, because you look at the top 6, we know 3 of the top 6 already clinched the playoff berth. The Boston Celtics have the best record in the NBA right now. They're 62-18. They're the number 1 seed in the East. The number 2 seed, you got the Milwaukee Bucks. They clinched the playoff berth. The 3 seed is the New York Knicks. Then you got the Cavs at number 4, the Magic at 5, and the Pacers at 6. Still trying to keep themselves in the playoff picture. You got the Sixers and the Miami Heat at 7 and 8 that are in that play-in category, but they're trying to move up to not be in the play-in category with the Chicago Bulls and the Atlanta Hawks, who these 2 will be playing in the play-in tournament. And then the other teams in the East, the Nets, the Raptors, the Hornets, the Wizards, and the Pistons have all been eliminated, so their seasons will end this weekend. Meanwhile, in the Western Conference, 5 out of the 6 already clinched the playoffs. The Nuggets at number 1, the Thunder is number 2, the Timberwolves rank number 3, the Clippers rank number 4, and the Mavericks at number 5. The Pelicans sit at number 6 still. You got the Suns at number 7 and the Kings at number 8. The Lakers and the Warriors clinched the last 2 spots at 9 and 10. We know they're going to be playing in the play-in tournament, clinch their play-in spots. But if the Pelicans can keep on winning, they could still keep that 6th seed alive. You got the Phoenix Suns to worry about as well. It's mainly going to be out of these 2. But the winner of that Kings-Pelicans game could be locked in on that 6th seed spot. Or could a loss to the Pelicans, they'll probably be put in the play-in tournament. The Suns could jump straight up, or can the Kings jump over the Suns? If the Suns can even win whatever games they got left this weekend, I know for a fact that the Suns got a couple games left. They got the Kings on Friday, so that could be another it factor of who could take that number 6 spot in the playoff picture. And then on Sunday, they'll play their final game against the Timberwolves. So it's basically out of these 3. I mean, I'm hoping the Pelicans can keep that momentum going. But if we're talking about who's going to go to the NBA Finals, I think we all are going to agree that we could see a rematch from last year. I think it's going to be the Celtics and the Nuggets playing for an NBA championship again. But I think this time it would go to the Boston Celtics because this team is so dominant. The Nuggets are a good team too, but it's hard to go back to back unless if you're a team like UConn. I think it's the Celtics' time. Either way, I got the Celtics winning it all. Who they play in the Eastern Conference Finals? And then they could play the Milwaukee Bucks. They could. I think it could be the Milwaukee Bucks. You never know. The Western Conference Finals. I'm considering it possibly it's going to be the Nuggets. Possibly the Nuggets and the Thunder. I'd be shocked if it's the Nuggets and the Clippers, with how that could turn out to be. So before we move on any further, I'm going to bring up NASCAR. I haven't talked NASCAR in the last 2 weeks, but the next two races are two of my favorites. We're going to be coming up. We got the Texas Motor Speedway this weekend in Fort Worth. You got the Altra Echo Park Automotive 400, and then the following week it's Talladega, the Geico 500. Who doesn't love Talladega? But go back 2 weeks ago. You go back to the Toyota Owners 400 in Richmond. That whole race was won by Denny Hamlin. Runner-up was Joey Logano, and third place went to Kyle Larson. And the stages right there, Kyle Larson did take stage 1. Martin Truex Jr. took stage 2. And the winner, of course, was Denny Hamlin. Then this past weekend, we had the Cookout 400 in Martinsville Speedway in Ridgeway. I forgot where that was located. But that one, stage 1 went to Kyle Larson. Stage 2 went to Denny Hamlin. And another win for Hendrick Motorsports. William Byron takes his third win this season. He already won the Daytona 500. He won the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix. Now he wins the Cookout 400. Runner-up was Kyle Larson. In third place was Chase Elliott. So Hendrick Motorsports is on a roll lately. And good luck to them this weekend. I know they had Hendricks did break some kind of record, or they made history. I'm trying to find it because I got to go look on my Facebook to see if that goes. Hendricks goes once. It was the first time ever that a team finishes first, second, and third place in Martinsville. So yeah, it was all Team Hendricks that closed out this race, and William Byron, Kyle Larson, and Chase Elliott. So I know they're not a very well-liked team in racing, but you got to give them their best. They've created some of the best racers in that sport, and congratulations to Hendrick Motorsports. Good luck to all those guys, especially William Byron, competing this weekend in Fort Worth. Meanwhile, let's jump to the UFL. We're going to go recap week 2, and so far this season has been record-setting, you could say, on and off the field. We got 2 undefeated teams right now, the Stallions and the Brahmas, both sit at 2-0. The Battlehawks, the Defenders, and the Michigan Panthers, and the Memphis Showboats sitting at 1-1. And unfortunately, 2 of the 3 Texas teams, the Renegades and the Roughnecks, are winless at 0-2. The Brahmas beat the Showboats 20-19. Battlehawks beat the Renegades 27-24. Stallions remain undefeated, beating the Panthers 20-13, and the Defenders took down the Roughnecks 23-18. The Roughnecks are not looking good. But here are some numbers you need to know after week 2. Number 9 is your first number. The number of consecutive wins for the Stallions in spring football dating back to last season's championship run in the USFL. The next big number is 10, which Audi Field, which is the home of the DC Defenders, they are now 10-0 at home, undefeated since the start of the 2020 XFL season. So the Defenders never lost a game at home in franchise history, whether if it was in the XFL or now the UFL. The next magic number is 12. That was the number of points that the Brahmas scored in the final 48 seconds of its dramatic comeback from the behind win over Memphis. They trailed 19-8 in the game, and the Brahmas scored a touchdown with 48 seconds left. After go on 4th and 12, they went for a 4th and 12 option on their own 28-yard line instead of attempting an onside kick, and then they converted that and won the game with just 3 seconds left. Your next big number is 16, which is the total margin of victory across this week's 4 games, with 3 of those coming down to a game-deciding play in the final 5 seconds of the game. Your next big number is 62. Just 1 week after hitting that 64-yard field goal, Jake Bates kicks a 62-yarder as the time expired in the first half in their game last weekend. And then Brett Maher is the only kicker in NFL history to hit 60-plus yard field goals back-to-back weeks for the Dallas Cowboys in 2019. The next magic number is 98, which is the distance of Corn Elder's pick six to open the scoring for the Houston Roughnecks against the DC Defenders. 100%, the UFL delivered excitement through the first 2 weeks of the season. The next big number, 114, which Marcel Aitman, St. Louis wideout, making an early case to be the top receiver in the league. He had a 114-yard, 2-touchdown performance for the former Oklahoma State wide receiver. He also had 6 catches for 60 yards and 1 touchdown in just week 1, my folks. The next big number, 247 receiving yards combined for 21 catches under the trio of Marcus Stevenson, Cody Latimer, and Jontre Kirtland of the Arlington Renegades. And then the last big number, 40,317, is the now new attendance record for an UFL game. We know how passionate the St. Louis Battlehawk fans are at the Dome of America Center in St. Louis. You know, St. Louis was once an NFL team. They had the Rams, but since they moved to LA in 2016, the only football they had was this XFL team, and they're so passionate that even though that's not their full capacity, they could still fill up a football stadium, a spring football league for that to have. So big shout out to that fan base. You know, me being a fan of the Houston Roughnecks, I do have some love for the Battlehawks because they are very passionate with their football team, and it's awesome to see a game in St. Louis with those kind of numbers and with all that blue painted across the field. But yeah, it's hard to believe that week 3 of the UFL is upon us. And the first place Birmingham Stallions are the current favorite to win the UFC title. The San Antonio Brahmas and the Battlehawks are tied for the second shortest odds of winning. But also, you got to watch for a dark horse team like the Michigan Panthers. DC could be another team that we could see play for a championship. But, you know, that's the teams they're talking about the most here. But as we go ahead and make some predictions here for week 3 of the UFL, we got the DC Defenders taking on the Arlington Renegades at noon on ESPN. DC is a heavy favorite to win this. It'd be crazy to see the Renegades go 0-3 of the season. Some key players to follow in this one. Defenders quarterback Jordan Tamu. Other notable players including Kuka Williams Jr., Kiki Kute, Dalvin Bellamy, DeAndre Baker, and, of course, DJ Swearinger for the Defenders. For the Renegades, you got to watch out for quarterback Louis Perez, including Vic Beasley, Donald Payne, Deontay Burnett, and Marquette King. But give me the DC Defenders. Crazy, I do believe to see the Renegades go 0-3. So I'm going to take the Defenders on the road in this one. Then we got the Memphis Showboats taking on the Birmingham Stallions. This is no surprise. I don't even think this game's going to be close. 6 p.m. kickoff on Fox. Give me the Birmingham Stallions. You know, Matt Corral at quarterback. And you got other key players, including Taco Charlton, C.J. Marable, Deion Kane, Amari Rogers, Jay Sternberger, and DeMarcus Gates. Memphis, though, Case Cookus, decent quarterback. You got Trey Williams as the running back. You got P.J. Hall on defensive end, Vontae Diggs at linebacker, and, of course, T.J. Green in the backfield, defensive back. But give me the Stallions. Big win. I don't think it's going to be close. Sunday morning, 11 a.m. kickoff on ABC. The Houston Roughnecks on the road against the Michigan Panthers. 2 great quarterbacks, Jarrett Garantano and E.J. Perry going at it. But the main target on that player is their kicker. But Houston's got some notable players too. Stephen Dunbar, Reuben Foster, Chris Odom. Michigan's got Daniel Wise, Frank Ginda, and John Hightower. But I got to see the Roughnecks. Michigan is the favorite, but give me the Roughnecks in a close one. I think it's going to be a very, very tight game. I'm going to go with the Roughnecks. I'm not giving up on them. And then finally, this should be a good one. The St. Louis Battlehawks on the road against the San Antonio Brahmas. Battlehawks trying to give the Brahmas their first loss of the season. 2 great quarterbacks. You got A.J. McCarron for the Battlehawks, Chase Garbers for the Brahmas, Wayne Gallman, Darius Shepard, Hakeem Butler, Jarius Jones-Smith, and Mike Rose for the Battlehawks, Katie Cannon, Cody Latimer, and Delonte Scott for the Brahmas. This one's going to be a dogfight, but I think this could be the Battlehawks moment. Give me the Battlehawks winning over the Brahmas. But I would not be surprised if the Brahmas remain undefeated and go 3-0 of this season. But I think that will about wrap up today's episode. I don't have much on arena football. I know their season's fixing to start in a couple weeks. When Freddie comes back, we're going to talk about all that, and we're going to do like a little grading on each of the team's uniforms. So that's going to be fun to watch. So this will about wrap up today's episode. I got nothing else to mention. Again, right below your screen, right there, you can find me on Twitter at MarcusLee337. And tune in, subscribe to my YouTube channel to watch SAT Sports anytime on demand on all streaming platforms. But thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you guys next week. Y'all have a good one.